Hello YouTube, I'm your Huckleberry, and that's not a knife. That's a knife. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Please excuse the terrible accent. But as you can see, today's review is going to be on the Spyderco Subvert. And let's get into some specs. We're looking at about 9¼ inches in overall length. Holy cow. We're looking at a 4.1 inch blade length. The thickness is going to be coming in at 0.15. This is an S30V blade with, I'm not real sure what to call this blade shape. I mean, drop point? Kind of, but then you got it's unique. I mean, let's call it that. It's a unique blade shape, and it does have a flat grind and a satin finish, as you can see there. It does have G10 scales over titanium liners, and it is a titanium liner lock, as you can see there. The clip is situated for right hand tip up only. And this is the Subvert here is based on the Black Snow Customs knife that's called the Sabotage. Let's get a weight, which I have a feeling will be substantial. But anyway, here we go. All right, here we go. AccuWeight scale. They're coming in at about 6.1 ounces. 6.1 ounces. So yeah, it is chunky. It is heavy. Let's get into let's give you some size comparisons. You already kind of saw one there with the Kershaw Link. But there you go. There's you some more, and as you can tell, I mean, it just dwarfs the Leak. It dwarfs the Leak. Here it is against our Spyderco sandwich. Two more Spydercos here. There it is against the PM2 and the Para 3. Lightweight, and again, just, I mean, bigger than both of those in every way. And the PM2 is no small knife. And this just, again, kind of makes it look small. Makes it look like a lightweight option. And then how about one more against another knife that's not really a small knife? How about the Cold Steel AD15? Now we're getting much closer, much closer. That's about on par in terms of just feel. These two are going to feel pretty similar. The Cold Steel is actually going to be a little bit heavier, but anyway, that's much more similar than the other three that we've looked at there. Okay, let's get into some pros and cons of the Subvert here. The first thing that I kind of noticed when I got it was it doesn't really feel like a 6.1 ounce, 4.1 inch blade knife. I picked this up, I made a trade for it, and it's not something that I had just a ton of interest in, really. I mean, well, I was interested in it, but it's not something that I would really carry, because I try to stay, you know, in kind of the 3.5 inch blade range or less, and kind of the 4 ounce weight and less is kind of the sweet spot for me. And so this kind of just blew those proportions away. But, you know, I was like, well, you know, it looks like an interesting knife. I like the blade shape. I want to try it out. So I made the trade and I got it. And, you know, just the first thing that I noticed when, you know, handling it and carrying it and everything is that, man, this does not feel like as big of a knife as it is. It carries way better than the weight and size would indicate. You know, when you put it in the pocket, you don't really feel, you know, I usually feel it start to tug on my pocket a little bit when we get into the 6 ounce and above range is when I kind of start to feel it tug in my pocket. And that's really the only time that it bothers me is if I can feel that. But you couldn't feel that with this knife. You couldn't feel it tugging on the pocket. And I think it's because it's proportioned well. It's the weight distribution is really good on it. And so it doesn't feel like, here it is in my extra large hands, by the way, with room to spare. It doesn't feel like a 6-ounce knife. It doesn't feel like a 4-inch blade. That's relatively thick, by the way. I mean, thick stock, 0.15. But it carries really well. It carries better than the measurements would indicate. If I just went based off the measurements, which I kind of did until I got it, of course, I would say, that's probably not a knife for me. But now having it in hand and handling it and carrying it for a little while, I like it. I like it. It carries a lot better than the measurements would indicate. That's due in part because it does have milled liners. I mean, those are thick slabs of titanium there. I mean, as you can see. But it does have milled liners. You can kind of see there, which is good, which it desperately needed for that thick titanium. It does have milled liners. It does run on bearings, which I like. It's not often that you see kind of thumb stud or spidey hole open knives. Usually bearings are reserved for flippers. You don't really see bearings on knives that open via thumb stud, or in this case, spidey hole here, or in that kind of way, you know, thumb disc, whatever. That kind of opening as opposed to flipper opening. You don't really see bearings, but this has bearings, which is probably a good thing considering the amount of blade that you got to swing out of there. So it's probably a good thing that it's on bearings, but it does make the action nice. It does have a pretty nice action there. Since it's riding on the bearings. I do like the unique look. Like I said, it's based on the Black Snow's Customs Sabotage. You got kind of this unique blade shape, which I like. I mean, it's like it's machete, right? I mean, that's what it feels like. That's what it looks like. This is kind of a pocket machete. And I like that. I like that about it. It's unique. I like that it's unique. I like that it has this unique blade shape, and it's not your run-of-the-mill, you know, drop point liner lock knife. It's something a little bit different, and I like that. It does, even with the thickness being what it is, it does cut well. It has a nice flat grind on it, so it does slice pretty well, which is kind of surprising considering the size of the blade, the thickness of the blade there. But it does slice well, so that's good. I like the lanyard hole positioning. The fact that it's in the, you know, backspacer there is always nice. I always like that. Keeps it out of the way. Gives you the option of a lanyard hole without, you know, messing with clip positioning there. So I always appreciate when the lanyard hole is kind of integrated into the backspacer. I think that is the best way to do a lanyard hole, in my opinion. The fit and finish on it is top notch. You know, Spyderco's fit and finish is usually pretty on point. This is no exception. It's top notch. I mean, where you really get a sense of the fit and finish is right here, because you got G10 titanium, G10 titanium, G10. And so you got this sandwich here. And the fact that it is all completely smooth, that I can run my finger across it, I can run my fingernail across it, and it not get snagged on any part of that it is all completely flush right there. I mean, just completely flush and smooth and looks great and feels great. This is a well done knife. The fit and finish on it is really, really good. On the lanyard hole there, I mean, with that little cutout, it is nice. Everything is really nicely contoured. No sharp edges whatsoever besides the one that's supposed to be sharp. It is a top-notch fit and finish knife. Spyderco really did well here, and they should have, because it's $305. So it should be well finished, and it is. It is well finished. I like the scale. It's got a little bit. The scales have got a little bit of texture on it, which is nice. It's not overly aggressive, but it does. You could definitely tell that it does give you a little extra grip there, and I like that look there. It reminds me of wood, right? That looks like a piece of hardwood with that kind of, I don't know, pattern there. That's what it looks like, and I really like that. I think that's neat. You know, it's not just your standard, you know, kind of flat G10. You know, this has texture on it, but, you know, it doesn't have anything like that on it. And I think that's really neat. And I like that a lot. I like that that's kind of, you know, it's not your run-of-the-mill G10. It's got a little bit of a different look to it. So this does have its drawbacks, though. One is, as I'm sure you could tell when I did that, showing you the sandwich there, it is thick. and it carries thick. It is a thick, thick knife. Now, I told you the size and weight, it carries better than what the weight would indicate, but I mean, it's still thick. I mean, look at that. You've got 2 thick slabs of G10 here, and 2 pretty thick slabs of titanium here. And you could tell, I mean, it is thick. It is thick in hand. I have extra large hands. And I mean, it fills my hands completely and then some. I mean, it feels more like a fixed blade does in hand, you know, because with fixed blades, a lot of times they'll have, you know, the thicker handles because, you know, you're not worried about carrying it in your pocket. You just, you know, you put it in a sheath generally. And so, but you want that to be, because when, you know, when you're doing fixed blade tasks, you know, chopping, batoning, you know, you're usually doing harder work with fixed blades. You want that handle to be really hand filling, because it's gonna save on hand fatigue and things like that. The handle here feels like a fixed blade knife. When this is open, it feels like a fixed blade knife in hand to me. I wouldn't treat it like a fixed blade knife, of course, but it feels like one. With the way that it fills the hand, with the weight and thickness of the blade, it feels like a fixed blade knife in hand. And, you know, but the thing is, it's not a fixed blade knife. It's meant to be carried in the pocket, indicative of the pocket clip there. And when you're carrying it in the pocket, it's thick. And there's really no way, I mean, there's just no way around it. It's thick with 2 C's, as the kids say these days. It only comes in orange, which I like, you know, I mean, you guys know I like orange. I have a thing for orange. But the fact that it only comes in orange is a real love it or hate it type thing. You either tend to love orange or you hate it. And this is not just an orange. I don't know if the camera's probably picking it up. It's probably coming up a little bit darker on camera than what it is in to my eye. But it's a bright orange. It's a pretty bright orange. And so that's probably going to turn a lot of people off, is the color there. And I'm sure they'll probably get to the point where they're coming out with more colors. But the bright orange there, I like it, but I know that's going to be a turnoff for probably a lot of people, is the bright orange there. The detent on it is a little bit weak. There we go. I can shake that out. I can shake it all the way out and up. And that's due to the fact that this is such a large blade. But that detent should probably be a little bit better. I would want it to be a little bit stronger, especially since it's on bearings. I mean, once you break that detent, it's going to come flying out because it's on bearings. So I would really want that detent to be a little bit stronger there. I don't like the fact that I can shake it out. And that may be the nature of the beast because it is such a large blade. That's just, maybe the detent would have to be so strong that it wouldn't be easy to open. You know, I'm sure Spyderco messed with it. But I probably would have liked to seen a little bit better detent there. The Spidey hole access is not great. You've seen me a couple times probably on camera kind of miss it, and kind of my thumb missed it. You can see there that it does cover up the hole a little bit there with that titanium liner. And it's a little bit of a smaller hole, especially for such a large blade, but that's kind of because of the shape of the blade. It's kind of taller up here, and then it kind of narrows as you're going towards the back there. But I would like there to be a little bit better access right there. Cut that liner down some, something like that. Give me a little more of a cutout here, right there, so that I can get better access. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. This is right hand only. Right hand tip up only is the only carry option. I always like to see, the option for left hand, even though I'm not a lefty, but still. Lefties, you got left out, sorry. And there is no jimping. There is no jimping anywhere on this knife, which honestly is not the end of the world because of the ergos, which are good, by the way, in my large hand. The ergos are good. And for this size of knife and this style of knife, with the handle being as thick as it is and the way that it fills the hand, it's not a huge loss that there's no jimping there. It would just be nice to have a little bit of jimping. But, it's not the end of any worlds, the fact that there's no jimping there. One good thing that I forgot to mention, I think, is the lock bar access. It is nice. It's easy. Get my fat thumb in there. That lock bar access is good. So overall, this is a knife that surprised me. That surprised me with how much that I actually do like it, because I do. I actually do really like this knife, which I didn't think that I would. I didn't think that I would like it as much as I do. I didn't really think I'd like it at all, considering the size of it and everything else, the thickness of it and everything. But this is a well-finished knife that carries a lot better than the measurements would indicate. And I've enjoyed carrying it. I've enjoyed using it. I've really enjoyed this big old pocket machete. I've liked using it and carrying it a lot. So if you're okay with the orange and you're, okay with giving the size of try, I mean, this is going to be illegal in a lot of places because of the size of it. But if it's legal in your area and you want to try out a pocket machete, I think this is a good one to try out because, like I said, I mean, just it carries so much better than the measurements would indicate. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing or even disliking if you don't like it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. I love to interact with you guys, and I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.